Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is a screencast-o-matic presentation and recording for the second half of the War Packet cycle, for the current cycle that we're on in the third quarter, in regards to this week's questions and answers. Before we get started, please let me encourage you to open up to the correct War Packet template and to write down the question and the answer in full in order to receive full credit. Remember, when you are finished, you can gladly submit this on the post accordingly. Let's go ahead and get started. What types of key events impacted China and Greater Asia during and after Mongol rule? For this particular lesson, we looked at several different things that happened during this era of Chinese history that basically define the coming of modern China. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want you to keep in mind is that the bubonic plague did in fact have long effects on China and world history for many, many years, even after it was over. The pandemic caused mass deaths with trade and advanced contact as well. This further exacerbated the situation for many years to come. Additionally, with the use of biological warfare, using dead bodies of bubonic plague in warfare, this further decimated whole populations systematically. Additionally, the new dynasty that came to power, the Ming, usurped power that they feel had been lost and compromised, and in many ways this would define Chinese history for both better and for worse. Oceanic travels did define a new era in Chinese history, as bigger and better ships produced more maritime endeavors and advancements that brought in new contacts to Chinese history. Additionally, an agricultural revolution can be seen taking place with new advanced agricultural breakthroughs from tools to methods, which revolutionized not only farming but also life as well, as populations would later on boom. And then down here at the very bottom, there was also a cultural expansion that was felt during this time in Chinese history, with new religions and new different types of religious sects, practices, customs, that all influenced China directly and specifically. Once you have that written down, you may then proceed to the next question of the day. Let's go to the next question of the day. For Thursday and Friday, what types of key factors were impacting China in their dealings with other countries? And of course, the time period that we're referencing here is the post-Qing era. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing here that we talked about in this lesson was the Opium Wars, which basically entailed fighting between Britain and China over opium and also trade rights. Additionally, trade itself was an incredibly controversial thing for the time in Chinese history. The Chinese developed a love-hate relationship with the goods and products, which defined diplomatic relations for many years to come. Additionally, signs of internal strife became evident as growing discontent between different classes in China and the ruling class became even more apparent. Also, there was weakening rule from within. The new dynasties that came to power did struggle to maintain legitimacy in the eyes of many Chinese, and their exercise of effective administration and governing rule just simply wasn't there. Additionally, China also expanded during this time in this era, which brought about modern-day contours and borders that we know of today. And additionally, spheres of influence began to take their shape and form over China, as many international powers tried to manipulate China for resources, and in many ways were effective in doing so. This would also change and shape China's worldview for many years to come. So as you guys can see, between those two lessons and questions and sets of warm-ups, you can see how China was changing to be more of what we'll get into next week in terms of communist China. Please remember, when you're finished, go ahead and submit this warm packet cycle accordingly. Thank you very much for tuning in.